Hey, what's going up, Bull Runner? Welcome back to the show. Glad to have you here today. Thank you for watching the show. Today, we have an awesome video for you. Are you ready to be the richest person in your family? Well, BitBoy Crypto thinks you can be. We here at the Bull Runners Club think you can be. And XRP Army thinks that as well. So check this out and let me know down in the comment section, 777 if you're ready to be rich off of XRP, 777 if you're feeling blessed to be a part of XRP Army. Let's take a look. All right, first and foremost, we are going to start here at the charts. Just a quick glance before we jump into all the news and everything that's exciting. So we have a couple of things here that are a little tiny bit concerning. Number one is we have crossed over this yellow line here on our TDI, RSI. We could obviously see a nice flip back up. Today is an important day. Yesterday was a severe red day. It was unfortunate. In fact, yesterday was down 2.37%. The day before that, we got a reversal pattern candle, and sure enough, it reversed. But guys, there's important information here. We did still stay strong above this 14 exponential moving average. This has been the saving grace for XRP. It also came right back down into the supply and demand zone yesterday, dipped under it a little, reversed. So today is a very important part. We cannot lose this 14 exponential moving average. You can see it's still climbing. Price needs to return to the upside. We have a bearish signal flashing here with our harmonics pattern on the 4-hour charts. Unfortunately, it just keeps getting up and rejecting though. Once it gets up into this area, which was the, look at this. So this short entry was called, or sorry, this long entry was called back here. It actually ended up hitting the safe long TP, not the official one. We have two conflicting indicators going on right now with the charts. Number one, we have a sell signal going on with the Market Liberator. And Market Liberator has been very, very good. We're hoping that this is a false signal for all of us, the XRP Army. The harmonics has a double harmonic pattern playing out. And one is a massive piece. This one's a smaller one, but they both are bullish at this level. So it's interesting to see what's happening. We can see here when this long took place, it hit the safe long. This short took place, it already hit the short. The actual main level take profit is all the way down here at 0.49. And I do not want to see anything below 50 cents. Bulls have to fight this 50-cent level. But why are we going to be rich? Well, lots of reasons. Number one, XRP Army has a lot of hope and dreams and desires. And I did like this tweet that just came out 2 hours ago from our friend over at BitBoy Crypto, also a YouTuber. The @Ripple case could end literally any day. As we saw yesterday in the title of my video, it could happen in the next 24 to 48 hours. I was hoping we would get something, but unfortunately still have not. But when one thing ends, it's also the beginning of something new. And in this case, the new thing is you getting rich if you stuck with XRP and the XRP Army. It's about time to get your rations. So I love that tweet when that one came out. It was very good. I do want to let you know this is not financial advice. Do not buy or sell anything as we talk about it, even XRP. So just so you guys are aware, do your own research, buy at your own risk, all of that good stuff. But I love that there's so many people out there in the crypto space that are huge fans of XRP. As I talked about yesterday, not only just of XRP, the crypto, the fact that XRP is in such a precarious position, Ripple being sued by the SEC, they come out victorious. It's another win for the people against the government, in my opinion, you know? So a lot of great things going on. So other information in the bookmarks that I went through over the last couple of days, I wanted to show you guys a couple of things, very important stuff. Since we're on XRP, I'm still going to continue that. So this was an interesting tweet here. This is what should always come to mind when Ripple announces new CBDC projects. So as you guys know, XRP, people think that it's going to be the CBDC of the New World Order currency, whatever it is. It may not even exist yet. We do know that XRP is potentially that, right? But the thing is, there's been some things that come out. Watch these two videos I'm going to show you that kind of contradict that. But that doesn't mean that Ripple, the company, can't play along with the CBDCs, right? So you have to understand Ripple, the company, and XRP are way different things. Ripple, the company, did create XRP, but Ripple, the company, could also be the Asian CBDC. It could be the Indian CBDC. Why? Because the actual software. And listen to this.
What we're doing at Ripple is we take a version of the XRP ledger and we've made it a private ledger. No central bank at this stage would operate with a public ledger for many different reasons. Eventually they may do. Let's see what happens there.
Okay, so as you heard, Ripple, CBDCs, we basically replicate the ledger, we create a clone, and we run that CBDC on the clone. Okay, so that is one thing we have to keep in mind here, guys, that they can just replicate the whole XRP situation and call it something else. So again, this is what should always come to mind when Ripple announces new CBDC projects. First, this doesn't exclude the potential interoperability with XRP switching back and forth. This doesn't imply XRP can't be used as a bridge currency. And this doesn't imply that Ripple has abandoned XRP. So as you hear at the very end there, he says, what we're doing here at Ripple is we create a clone of the XRP ledger for whatever CBDC because it's private. We don't see these big banks wanting to use a public ledger yet. Not to say that it can't. You heard that at the very end. He says not to say that it can't. All right. And then here is an interesting tweet from John Deaton. For several years, I've heard some people say XRP holders only acquired XRP because of Ripple. Now, first and foremost, that is a blatant, absolute lie. And he's going to cover that too. He says it right here. I know for a fact that the majority of the purchasers of XRP were completely unaware that the company Ripple, when acquiring XRP for the very first time. I explained it's about the tech, not Ripple. And that is very true. First and foremost, I didn't know Ripple was the company. Like I wasn't buying the Ripple stock, which is XRP. I heard, hey, this XRP token is really cool. It has a bunch of use case behind it. It could do well. I didn't even know that the use case was the company Ripple at the time, right? This was years and years ago. But obviously, I've gotten smarter. Crypto industry's gotten smarter. You've gotten smarter. We already know you're probably smarter than me. You probably were like, wait a minute, I did buy XRP because of Ripple. But in reality, you probably didn't because that was never really the case or the situation. We even went through the history of XRP and all that stuff too. But as we can see here, the public XRP ledger, AMM XLS30. What makes it superior? Layer 1 protocols native, continuous auction mechanism, no minor extractable value or front running or sandwich attacks, also no fees, no replacement, but in addition to the CLOB based XRPL DEX. And let's take a look at what they had to say in this video.
For those of you who do not know, we recently proposed an automated native support for automated market maker on XRP ledger. And I would like to get your thoughts on how do you think like XRP ledger has some inherent cool features compared to other blockchains? How do you think XRP ledger is uniquely positioned to support a more lucrative and more efficient automated market maker?
Yeah, as Lauren just mentioned, the XRP ledger actually implements one of the first kind of DEX version in the DLT space. XRP ledger natively actually has decentralized exchanges. It's just previously it was supporting order book based decentralized exchanges. Now it's supporting AMM. It's just something that's very powerful, and compared to the existing solutions that are widely seen on EVM compatible chains such as Ethereum, Polygon, BNB chain, and so on and so forth, this particular the XRP ledger solution is, instead of being implemented on the application level, it is actually native to the chain. As far as I understand, it is actually implemented directly on the chain level, on layer 1, so to speak. And I think that has a lot of advantages. For example, we have all the liquidity all on layer 1. You can utilize the liquidity to increase liquidity efficiency. And secondly, we all know that, Shihao was just saying, the problem with other EVM compatible chains, the fact that miners can be bribed with higher gas fee, and then they can reorder the transactions, causing front running, this kind of issue. These issues would be mitigated on the XRP ledger due to different sorting mechanism, actually definitive sorting mechanisms, such that validators would not be bribed, and also due to the different consensus mechanism, which is much more efficient on the XRP ledger compared to other chains. It reduces also settlement latency, and it also makes attacks such as front running and also sandwich attacks that Xiao just mentioned far more difficult.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Xiao, do you want to add something?
Yeah, so I think there's actually one feature as far as stand about the design is actually there's an auction feature. So basically, as I actually mentioned, that arbitrageurs will always actually run to actually trade on arbitrage opportunities, like for example, public information. And there's an auction feature I find interesting. There is actually for example, for the next, I think 24 hours a day, the arbitrageurs will actually first engage in auction, that you have to win the auction in order to actually trade on the potential arbitrage opportunities in actually the next 24 hours. And so basically, they first do auction, and all the profits they actually win from the auction will actually goes to the liquidity providers in the pool. So basically, you mitigate the future, let's say, sandwich attacks or this kind of arbitrage profits, and even better, you actually straight to the auction and get the profits and actually give it back to the liquidity providers. I find that's actually an interesting design.
Awesome. Yeah, I would just like to add one more thing. We talked about why automated market makers exist. And one of the reasons we talked about is that scalability problem of blockchains, that the clock-based DEXs cannot really scale well on public blockchains because of the higher transaction fee. Well, the transaction fee on XRP Ledger is almost zero, close to zero. So it's really, really possible for even the clock-based DEXs to thrive on XRP Ledger. So that's another really cool feature, I think, that XRP Ledger. And also the AMM on XRP Ledger combines the good of both worlds. So it's an integrated DEX, which includes the advantages of both the order book based exchange as well as the automated market maker based exchange. I think both of them have their pros and cons, and you get the best of both worlds here.
Yeah, I agree. I just want to, based on my personal experience as well. Well, we know there was this DeFi summer period when the gas fee on Ethereum was just too high, intimidatingly high, such that sometimes a swap wouldn't, if it's not of sufficiently large scale, it would just not make sense. Definitely, I think small fee would encourage also more liquidity, would not just facilitate but also encourage more swaps, and it's just more user friendly, so to say. Yeah.
All right. So if you're still with me in this video and you went through that process there, you understand a lot more about what XRP is about. Some of you guys may be crypto degenerates and you're like, I don't give a crap what XRP actually does. I'm just trying to make a bag off of XRP. And I completely understand that. But that is a horrible way. You're a gambler if that's you. In fact, you're probably not watching this video anymore if you only, if you saw that information. Like if you're watching this, you're freaking genius. You're still smart. You understand XRP is more than just it's going to 10,000 a coin. It's going to be the new world currency, right? There's so much more to it. The capabilities of what it does is huge, and no one talks about it. Why? No one talks about the base layer, the technology of XRP, because it's trapped in this freaking lawsuit with the SEC. Ripple is not XRP, but you get what I'm saying. All right, so now there's some other information that I found today that was very, very key information for all of you guys out there that are smart, educated crypto users, right? Not just crypto gamblers out there. First and foremost, I want to let everyone know it is official. Just in Ethereum Shanghai upgrade officially goes live. You've got to be careful of this because here's what's going to happen. Enabling over 34.5. That's interesting, right? 345, 34.5 squirrel, right? It's my ADD kicking in there. But anyway, $34.5 billion in staked ETH to be withdrawn. You may be wondering, well, what does that mean? Some of you guys don't understand what this means. What this means is that these people who had their Ethereum locked, it was in jail. They could not get it out. There was no paying for bail. Well, now they are allowed to withdraw that. So let's say, for example, depending on when you put your staking in, you were staking at a lower rate. Maybe you staked Ethereum at $800, $900. Right now, it's at $1,900, almost $2,000 earlier, right? Well, you made $1,000 per coin. And these people that staked had thousands of coins, in a lot of them, thousands of coins locked away. So thousands times the thousands, there's millions of dollars at stake that these people can go in now and sell back to the public, right? They can dump it on the open market. They can take profits finally. It was locked away for so long. They can now take profits. That is setting up for a potential market dump. That's for Ethereum. Now, I wanted to show you guys here also, and again, not financial advice, and I'm not scaring you. This is not FUD. This is educating you, making you smarter. Also, very, very important, a smart whale transferred 11,000 Bitcoin. That's $330 million to Bitfinex 1 hour ago. So here's what happened. This guy had his 11,000 Bitcoin, or girl, 11,000 Bitcoin is locked away in his ledger, decided to transfer it to Bitfinex. What can you do if you transfer your coins to a exchange? Let me know down in the comments section. What can you do when you transfer your coins to an exchange? Yes, that's right. You can sell it. All right. So now these people can sell Ethereum. This whale can now sell 11,000 Bitcoin. The whale received 46,542 Bitcoin, worth $935 million from Bitfinex at an average of $20,000 a while ago, right? So when they took money off the exchange, they took 46,000 off. Well, recently they just transferred 11,000 more of those back on, probably to take some profits. Then they transferred 36,500 or 36.5 thousand, $1 billion to Bitfinex at a price of $28,000. Currently holds 10,000 Bitcoin worth 300, and the profit on this is $390 million. So their initial investment has grown by $390 million, but they're still holding it. What do you have to do in order to make these $390 million real profit? You have to sell. So when they first bought it, they bought it on an average price of $20,000 for these Bitcoin, and they just sold them, or they didn't officially sell them, but they transferred them back on at $28,000, allowing them now to sell them. If they do, we will see a market correction or a dump potentially for $390 million. And I thought this tweet was very funny and very appropriate. It says, it will be the first and only SEC-approved exchange. Totally coincidental, right? Because why? Just in, bankrupt FTX has received $7.3 billion in assets, is in considering relaunching their exchange in Q2. Now, first and foremost, amen. Thank God for all of you guys that were in FTX, that did not get out of FTX. We were putting out the sirens about FTX literally weeks before the crash came, because we're here on Twitter and we're here in all of the different articles reading, and the tea leaves were out there. We knew FTX was going to be collapsing. Sure enough, it did. A lot of our viewers, luckily, made their own wise decision, not my financial advice. They made their own wise decision. They went and did the research that we were showing here, and they decided to get out. But some of you guys might have been trapped. Now you have your potential of getting your money back to FTX. Unfortunately, still, Luna. I wish Luna would come back, right? So they got Do Kwon under arrest. They're taking the money. Speaking of under arrest, the founder of Tron has been arrested, or at least there's rumors of it. And Binance US is going to be delisting Tron. So this is another one of those things that's research that's important. Go research Tron. If you have Tron on your Binance.us account, you're going to want to move it to somewhere else. All right. So that's going to be very important. Here's some really, really positive news here, guys. Breaking: U.S. inflation falls to 5% lower than expectation. So that is actually a huge, huge, huge positive news.
If you're ready to earn an extra $200 to $3,000 per day in passive income, just like the Run Guys do every single day, then like this video, subscribe to the channel, then click the link in the description of this video to learn the Run Guys' #1 way to start earning passive income online with crypto today.
And just so you guys are aware, this just came out on April 12th. That was today, this morning at 5:30 this morning. Okay, it says here, the prior inflation number was 6, and they were expecting it to be 5.2. It came in at 5%. So that's huge, huge positive news. The market did not react the way you would expect for positive news like that yet. So we'll see tomorrow what happens. Are we going to get a really positive reaction, or are we going to continue to sink to the bottom? And what I mean by that is you may see your crypto still at the same thing, but over here at the Wall Street 30, the US 30, you can see it was all the way up here, bam, tanking, right? So the top of this candle from this morning up to 33,950, all the way down to 33,584. So a big drop there. Also the same thing with NASDAQ, had a big solid drop, and also the S&P 500 had a nasty drop as well. Now, there may be continued bleeding. Wow, look at this. I haven't even checked this, but this is on the 12-hour chart. This is pretty gnarly here. The harmonic pattern has developed, this cipher pattern that says we could see a drop all the way down here. And again, this is not financial advice. You can go and play around with these indicators. We'll do some charting here in a minute on XRP. But you can see this one says it's going to come down to 3,995. And then there's even a potential of it coming back down here to one of these key levels that we have marked off from back in the day, 3877. But yeah, that just triggered the potential for that sell-off. So interesting information there for you. Also, the market liberator just gave a short signal on this new candle that came out, and the take profit is all the way down here. So market looking like it's dumping to the downside, even though we just had the great news. And of course, great news being 5% inflation, which is actually an artificial number. They want it to be at 2%, but the US has just also said they no longer care about 2%. They're going to adjust it to where inflation only needs to be 3%. So, important information. Also here, breaking. Fed staff projected a mild recession starting later in 2023. So inflation is coming down, but they do believe that a actual recession, they're going to finally say that the recession is here, is coming soon. And we're going to start seeing that. We've seen that in the tech businesses, right? Google, Facebook, Twitter, major companies laying off tons and tons of people, those big tech companies, but it hasn't really hit like Main Street yet. Your small local businesses, that's coming. That's when the real pain starts to be felt. So we have to be very wary of that. Make sure you are preparing for any situations like that. Do you have savings that can last you through the stop? And now, if you don't have savings and you need to make money, you need to have a side gig, because a lot of people are looking for side hustles right now. You can join us at the Bull Runners Club. There's information down in the description below. You can also wait till the end of this as a bonus. I'm going to show you how you can get started with us, make money with us every single week. All right, so let's go ahead and jump over to the charts. Let's go over here to XRP and find out what we got. So like we talked about yesterday, there's a lot of overhead resistance. And you know what we talked about yesterday too? Tuesdays are a good day for XRP. And sure enough, it did ramp up really, really solid during Tuesday, but then it had a freaking massive, like gnarly pullback, and it's actually continuing to drop. Look at this here. We're getting back into the supply and demand zone here. Again, we cannot have the candle body close below this 14 exponential moving average. That would be a really bad, that would be a bad sign, because then we would be potentially dropping back to the 50 exponential moving average, which gets us all the way down here to 45 cents, which then brings us to the indicator market liberator, which gave us a short call here. And that would be actually putting us at 43 cents. Now, how long does that drop take? Will the drop stop there? Or does it just continue breaking from the downside? Well, you're going to have to subscribe, because we're going to continue covering this every single day. We'll help you with the crypto shortcut there. So anyway, our indicators are showing downside. Okay, so our indicators being the market liberator A showing a downside move. Let's look at the 12 hours here. The 12-hour also showing a downside move. So this higher time frame stuff is very bearish right now. The 6-hour was way up here, and the take profit's still down here. So bearish on the 6-hour. Let's look at the 4-hour here. 4-hour safe stop. Okay, so the 4-hour is getting us to 49 cents. And maybe we could have a reversal from there, but right now, this cipher pattern, double cipher pattern, is telling us we should be moving to the upside here on this lower time frame of the 4-hour. Unfortunately, we just had another hardcore 4-hour down candle. I mean, look at this right here. It's a 0.5% down, and we just had a 0.5% up. But this 0.5% down is going to potentially be a bearish engulfing. It still has 2 hours and 49 minutes left. So you know what? We could be dipping back. Maybe they're collecting orders, because you can see, look at what happened every time. Price got up, came back to this level, collected a bunch of orders, got here, collected orders, came back, collected orders, boom, moved to the upside, okay? Then it got to this level here, which is our breakout zones, resistance, came back down, collected orders. So you know what? We're looking here at this 4-hour, collected orders, collected orders, collected orders, collected orders, collected orders. Maybe it's just refueling with rocket fuel, and we're about to launch to the upside, because that's what the cipher pattern is showing us. Market Liberator showing us the downside, but it already hit one of its levels. Going to the 1-hour pattern here, 1 hour shows us a long entry. So this is showing, so look, this is what I'm saying. On the smaller time frames, you can see where it's picking up orders, right? Picking up orders. Does it start to make its move to the upside? Let's look at the 15-minute. 15-minute indicators giving us the downward. So we're at some interesting times right now with XRP. We're going to know, look at these cipher patterns are telling us we should be going up. Our 4-hour cipher pattern tells us we should be going up. So we'll keep an eye on this.